Okay, I know that. Hmm. That's gonna be the from the left or to the right for the vertical asymptote.
I'm asking for the equation of the vertical asymptote. It's an equation. Equations have an equal sign in it.
X equals A.
X equals A,
Yeah,
but you told me the x-intercept or the vertical asymptote is at 1. Shouldn't it be x equals 1?
yeah, we can say that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now we didn't do hardly any problems like this um the other day, but do you want to take a shot at what is the horizontal asymptote?
Yeah. The horizontal asymptote is Y equals B.
Okay, what is the value of b in this problem? What are you adding to it that's written now? That doesn't contribute anything.
For that it adds to 0.
Is y equals 0? Yes,
I got it correct?
it is correct. Okay. All right. Any questions on that?
Nope.
Okay. Do you have this written down for number 1?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's look at number 2. Can you tell me the vertical asymptote?
uh Yeah, the vertical asymptote is the vertical asymptote is going to be 5. X equals 5.
No. What is what do you set equal to 0? We just did this in the previous problem.
You set to 0 by adding 1 to both sides from a 0.
Which do you set equal to 0? What did we do in the first problem here? What did
It's
we set
equal
equal to 0?
X minus 1 equals
The
0.
bottom, the bottom. You set the bottom equal to 0.
Yeah. X minus 1 equals 0.
Okay, so what is the equation of the vertical asymptote when you solve for x?
X equals 1.
Good. All right, the horizontal asymptote here is a little bit different. It's y equals, it's the ratio of the leading coefficients.
Okay.
What is the ratio of the leading coefficients?
Ratio of the leading coefficients. That's Y equals 0.
Nope. What is the ratio of the leading coefficients?
Wait, do we have to make it a fraction?
Well, what is the coefficient on the top? What is the coefficient on the bottom?
5 on the top and 1 on the bottom.
There you go.
Yeah. Can you will you excuse me,
Sure.
Mr. Matthew?
Yep. Yep.
I'll be right back.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah. Okay, I'm back.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
all right, so
Yeah.
get this down, please.
You have y equals 5 over 1 equals 5. Okay.
All right. So, um, these problems are not like the ones we were working on the other day. They're also not like the ones the other students in your classes are working on. Uh, would
Well,
you like
it's
to work on problems that are more like the ones you guys are working on in class?
are these the problems that are the same from class?
No, I'm asking you, do you want me to show you problems that are more like what you're going to see on your quiz tomorrow? Or do you want us to keep working on this?
We can keep working on this.
Okay. All right.
You think it's different?
Yeah, I do. Um,
Oh,
we'll keep
weird.
working on this. All right, so number 3 here.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to factor the bottom. Do you remember us, do
Factorization.
you remember us talking about difference of squares at some point?
Yeah.
Okay, now more importantly, do you remember how to do difference of squares? Do you remember what the formula is?
Uh-huh.
I feel like you're just agreeing with me.
I know. I know what it is.
Okay, could you factor x squared minus 1 then for us, please?
Mm-hmm. Um, I don't know. It's hard.
Okay, so let me give you an example here. Let's say it's x squared minus 25. This becomes x minus 5, x plus 5. Where did the minus 5 and 5 come from this number here?
It comes for that, it comes from the 25 because 25 is divisible from 5. It's a square root of 5.
Right, it's a square root. So see if you can use that to figure out what x
Mm-hmm.
squared minus 1 becomes.
It's gonna be 1. X minus 1.
Okay, what else?
And the other one is x plus 1.
Very good. All right, now we're going to set the bottom equal to 0 for the vertical asymptote. So we have x minus 1 equal to 0 and x plus 1 equal to 0.
Okay.
What does that become?
X plus 1. Okay. So for that right there, 1 and negative 1.
Give me the equations, Sourish, the equations.
X equals 1 and x equals negative 1.
There you go. So now horizontal asymptote. Let's go back to the original here. It's 3x squared over x squared minus 1. What is the ratio of the leading coefficients? Ratio means fraction.
Okay. Y equals for 3 and x, 3 over x.
Coefficients are not x.
Well, I put a 3 on on the top.
That's right. What's the coefficient in front of x squared on the bottom? What's the number in front of x squared?
X.
No, coefficients are numbers, Sourish.
It's a negative one right there.
There's a 1 in front of the x squared.
Okay. Okay. So 3 over 1.
Okay, there you go. Are you getting this down in your on your homework?
Okay. Yep. That's good. Okay.
All right, you ready to move on to the next one?
Yeah.
All right, so let's take a look here. It's kind of similar to the last one. Could you factor the bottom for us, please?
Okay. Okay. I'll do that. X minus 1, x plus 1.
Very good. Now the what are the
Now
vertical
that right there, that's
asymptotes?
going to be x equals 1 and x equals negative 1.
All right, very good. Now the horizontal asymptote's a little bit different this time. This is considered bottom heavy.
Bottom
Yeah,
heavy?
yeah. The degree on the bottom the degree on the bottom two is bigger than the degree on the top one. So sometimes it's easier to remember it that way, that when it's bottom heavy, the horizontal asymptote is y equals
0.
0.
Okay.
Any questions on that?
Nope.
All right, we're going to move on to number 5. We're going to do some of the same things that we've been doing. All right. Can you tell me the vertical asymptote for this problem? It definitely has one.
Okay. The vertical asymptote. That's going to be x equals x equals 1.
You're setting the bottom equal to 0.
Uh-huh. So the bottom for V1, VA, that is going to be for that it's going to be an x squared, I would say.
You're setting x squared equal to 0, and you're solving for x. How do you undo a square?
Um you is this going to be factorization?
Nope. You're just taking a square root of both sides.
Okay. X minus 0, x plus 0.
What's the square root of both sides, Sarge? What's the square root of 0?
0.
Okay,
Mhm.
so that's the
Yeah.
vertical asymptote. Now for the horizontal asymptote, what is the degree of the numerator? What's the degree of the denominator?
What's the degree of the numerator and what's the degree for the what's the degree for the denominator? For horizontal asymptote, that's gonna be for that y equals 0.
Is y equals 0, yeah. Now the domain. The domain is broken up by the vertical asymptote. So it's always going to be minus infinity to the vertical asymptote union the vertical asymptote to infinity. What is your vertical asymptote in this problem?
The vertical asymptote is 0, and for the horizontal asymptote, it's 0.
Yeah, so you're at minus infinity comma 0 union 0 comma infinity.
Okay. So in the infinity, that's gonna be for the equation. Oh, what does the infinity do, by the way?
This means to the right forever, to the left forever.
Hmm. Okay, so that's gonna be like it's gonna be some kind of coding symbol.
It's just a
Okay.
symbol to represent
Okay.
left
All right.
forever and right forever.
Okay.
So what's really important to me, Sourish, is that you write this down in your notes also, so that when we do the next problem, we're not repeating the same thing.
Okay. I'll write that down. Let me write that down,
Okay.
Matthew.
Okay.
Okay. There we go.
All right. So number 6 here, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to first find the vertical asymptote, which means setting the bottom equal to 0.
Okay. Okay. So for that right there, that's gonna be okay. That's that's gonna be for that. Um. Okay. I need a little bit of help.
Okay. How do you undo a cube?
You have to just you undo a cube by just square rooting it.
Cube rooting it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you have x minus 2 equals 0. Now what?
Now you should be able to be add 2 to 0.
Okay. So what is the equation?
That's gonna be x equals 2.
All right. Very good. All right. So that's the vertical asymptote.
Uh-huh.
How about the horizontal asymptote? Is it top heavy, bottom heavy? Is it the same?
Top heavy, bottom heavy. It's gonna be the same. It's gonna be 4/2.
It is not. It's bottom heavy. There's the degree on the bottom is 3. The degree on the top, there's really an x to the 0 here that's not written. And
Okay.
because the 0 is less than 3, it's considered bottom heavy, which makes it y equals 0. This
Okay.
is very different than what the this is very different than what we were doing. So um,
Okay. Hey, will you excuse me, Matthew?
sure.
Yeah, I need to be able to be right back.
Okay.
Hey, Dad. Yeah. Okay, Matthew, I'm back.
All right. We'll look at another problem here.
Yep, I just have to give the laundry to my dad so he can wash them.
All right. Let's look at number 7 here.
Okay.
All right. Let's start with the vertical asymptote.
Vertical
Then,
asymptote. Mm-hmm. That's gonna be at the bottom. So that right there is gonna be x x equals 2.
all right, it is x equals 2. How about the horizontal asymptote?
X equals -2.
It is not -2.
Oh, they're I think for them they are I think that's for the bottom one.
It's not the bottom. What's the degree of the top? What's the
1.
biggest exponent? What's the biggest exponent on this on the bottom?
It's 1. They're the same. So it's the
Okay.
same.
So it's the ratio of the leading coefficients. What are the coefficients in front of x on the top and x on the bottom? What are the ratio of those coefficients?
1, and -1.
Okay, so what does that become?
That's gonna be, look, can I divide them?
Yes.
Okay. -1.
It is -1. Very good.
Uh-huh.
All right. Number 8. Are you getting this down in your notes?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this time I want you to find both the vertical asymptote and the horizontal asymptote.
Okay.
And I'll be right back with you.
All right. Okay, the vertical asymptote. I know that that's a x equals 2, -2. And for horizontal asymptote, that's a 5 over -2.
Uh, okay. You're sort of correct on the second one. What's
I'm sort of
the,
correct.
well, for the vertical asymptote, start with that. Tell me what you set equal to 0.
What I set to equal to 0, well, it's the 2x right there. So instead for me, I just used x plus 2x and then minus 2x, and that's going to be x
No,
equals
no, that is not what we do. So we've done like 7 problems and you still can't tell me how to
1
find the
plus
vertical
2x.
asymptote.
That's I know that 1 plus 2x, that's the yeah, yeah,
So for
that's
the 8th time, you set it equal to 0, the bottom equal to 0.
yeah, I did that, and a 0 minus a 0 minus 2,
Solve that for x, please. It is not 2.
it's -2.
It's not -2.
I did that. I subtracted 2 to the 0.
I don't know why you would do that. That's not how you would solve this. How would you solve this equation?
Oh, and you need because that needs to be going to a 0 -1, a 0 minus 1, that's it's a -1.
Okay, keep going.
Mm-hmm. -1, x equals -1.
What happened to the 2? You just
For the
ignore it? I mean, shouldn't it
no,
be?
no, for the 2, you should be able to be using that for division.
Yes.
And that right there, that's going to be a that's going to be a 1.
No.
X equals 1.
No. Are you writing any of this down?
I am.
Okay.
Mhm.
You have something like this
Yeah.
equals -1.
Uh-huh. A 2, I would say. X equals 2.
No. How do you undo multiplication?
I divide them. I divide them by 1.
Okay.
I did
So
that.
no, you divide by the number in front of the variable.
Wait, what? I didn't know that.
Sorry, I mean, come on. I mean, we did this Monday and Tuesday. We've been doing this for years now.
Okay. -2. Okay. I'm sorry about that. Divide by 2. Sorry about that. Sorry about that.
What is the answer?
-2. That's why I found it in my
No,
calculator.
no, you did not.
Well,
If
I
we put
did.
it
I was formerly I was doing -1 divided by 2, but it was a 0.5, -0.5.
right, and that's the correct answer. It's -1/2.
Then how can that be possible? Like a -0.5 will not make any sense. Okay, let me write it down. Y equals horizontal asymptote for what I told. So you told me I was sort of correct. So for the horizontal asymptote, that's a 5/2. I mean, a 5 over -2.
Um, where did you get the 5 from?
Up there, it's from the top.
What about this symbol right here? What does that mean?
That's a negative, so we just switched that to a positive
Why would you switch it?
because we did that in the previous problems.
No, we did not. It's the ratio of the leading coefficients.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna make up another problem like this one.
Mm-hmm. What are you gonna do over the weekend, Matthew?
Uh, I'll be happy to discuss that at the end. Let's make sure we get some problems here, worked out.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I want you to find the vertical asymptote, please.
Okay. Vertical asymptote for that, that's gonna be x equals 2.
Tell me what you're supposed to do
I
to
did
find the,
for what I did is that I subtracted both sides from 2 to the 6. I did that, and that's gonna be a 4, and I divide them.
let's go back and look at the previous problem.
I did the same thing. That was the same thing I did.
What did we do in the previous problem?
1 plus 2x equals 2, 0, but and then you
Okay,
switched it
so why 1 plus 2x? Why did I choose that? Where does that appear over here?
and right down at the bottom.
The bottom. So you set the bottom equal to 0. What is
Uh-huh.
the bottom?
The bottom 6 plus 2x.
You set that equal to 0.
Yeah, and then you just subtract them by 2 to 6.
No, that's not what we did here. Now you could rewrite it because addition is commutative.
Commutative? What is that?
Means you can do it. The order doesn't matter.
Okay.
Can you solve this equation, please?
Yeah. Hmm. -4. That's a -4.
Nope.
-6, 2, -6. It's gonna be. I think it's gonna be -2 and -2 to 6.
Let's go back and look. What did we do in the previous problem?
-1 and -1.
Okay,
2
why
to
did we
0.
subtract 1? Why didn't we just subtract 2?
We can't because it's from the x.
Okay, so in this problem, you should do what? What did you subtract from both sides?
6.
Okay, so tell me what to write.
-6, -6, 0, and 0 -6. That's
So tell me what to write on the left and the right.
oh my, left or right. -6
On the left or the right?
from the right.
Okay, what do I put on the left?
For the left, you put a 2x.
Okay, now what do you do to solve?
Divide them. Divide them by 2. That's gonna be a
What
negative
is,
4.
nope, try again.
Oh, oh my god, I'm so wow. Okay, -3. Sorry about that. I was thinking that 2 plus 4 equals 6. I'm sorry, but oh my god. Wow.
That's
It's a
okay.
negative. Okay.
All right. We'll stop there for today.
Okay.
I'm going to stop the recording. Does your dad want any feedback today?
Yeah.